And welcome to 3D Podcast. There's a lot going on in the world, and there's a lot going on in the podcast, and we're going to try and figure that all out live on the air right now. My name is James, and we are not in the studio together because you can't be. So across the country and across the city, I am with Kyle and with Kevin. You both got to say hello, and you got to do it in some kind of order.
Damn it.
All right, well, nose went.
Too many toots, too many peeps, but not enough for this time period.
Yeah, so Kyle is here. Kevin, say hello.
Oh, hey, I'm coming at you from, I guess 3D East Studio B? I don't know. Like, I'm coming from my bedroom.
If I could even use a map right now, I'd be able to tell you what side of the city you are relative to me, but I can't. I don't know.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
I think that
I'm south of you. I'm pretty sure I'm south of you.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I accept that.
But
So,
but 3D Studio South makes me sound like I'm recording from Florida or something like that.
yeah, which you're not. Which
Thankfully.
Right.
this is the
Yeah,
first
right.
time. This is the first time we've recorded, and I've been alone in the studio. I think.
Yeah, probably.
I think.
That would make
Yeah.
sense.
And so, yeah, there's no guests. We don't have guests on. That may be happening in the future because we're playing with some things with, Zoom and all those chats and everything to see if we can bring in somebody to get on a call with us at some point. That might happen just to entertain us and you, the listener. But the format of the show is going to be kind of the same as it used to be, mostly because we have to do it that way.
Yep.
So what we're going to do is we're going to cover some songs that we are going to use to build the soundtrack of what we think would be appropriate for first. No, today what we're going to do is songs to quit your job to. Correct?
Yeah, that's
Yep.
it.
Yes. So that's the one we're going to do.
Have any
I
of us
quit.
actually have anyone actually gone into like an office and be like in a dramatic fashion and say I quit? Because I feel like that doesn't really happen.
I'm
I don't think it happens at our age.
Yeah, probably not.
No.
When you have like a lot to lose.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think I ever walked in and quit anything. I was the one that would put in my notice knowing I had another job coming, and then skip the last day and not tell them.
Ooh, we got a bad boy over here.
Well, I mean, it was more of like the most recent one, I guess, would be. Geez, this was a long time ago, but I was working at Old Navy, and I didn't. This was like January, and I didn't want to go. Like, why bother? It was $9 an hour at the time, and it was a terrible place to work. So I went sledding with friends instead. And I'm trying to think if there was anybody there that you guys would know. The only Honest Donnie was there, but he worked.
Yeah.
John worked with me at Old Navy back then, and so he was kind of egging me on to not go. And then we were out sledding, and we did some drinking, did some sledding, and my phone's ringing, and the manager is calling me repeatedly, like, "Well, it would have been nice to know if you weren't coming in." Getting more and more passive aggressive as the days going on. And
I want like the last one, the last recording.
I wish I wish I could remember what he said, because it was like, dude,
real
like,
dick move, James. Real dick move.
you're at a point now where, do you really think I'm gonna call you back? Like, what you? Yeah. This
Did you oversleep? I don't know. I didn't want you.
it was kind of ridiculous. He wouldn't let it go. But yeah, I've never just like thrown my arms up and been like, "That's it, I quit," or anything like that. You
Yeah,
know?
like you see in TV or anything like that. It just, but like for me, the way I interpreted this is like, and I'll get into it when we get into my songs, is like, there's like a narrative to the point at which you want to leave a job. It's not just an isolated event, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
There's a climax.
Yeah, there's a
Some
build.
jobs sooner
So-
than others.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I've been in positions where I have skipped the last day of work probably 3 or 4 times. But yeah, it's always been like, screw this, I hate it, and I'm out of here. And it's not in the moment. So, all right. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to cover these things. We're going to make the playlist. We're going to talk about some other stuff. But we can't skip over the fact that,
Stuff.
yes, the
Yep.
butt stuff. We can't skip
The butt
over the
stuff.
fact that life is weird right now, that everyone is stuck at home. We're in the middle of a worldwide crisis, and so what we're going to try and do is entertain you because we're stuck at home, and why not just record things? I want to give a shout out to Root Shock. You're still hearing Many Paths as the theme to our show at the beginning, and we've got some cool things coming up. Root Shock has allowed us to use audio from a live performance that occurred before everything got shut down. So even though you can't go out and see a show, at the end of this episode and in future episodes, you're going to be hearing all from one set. And the set was in February, and it was a tragic story of mine where I actually wanted to film the set.
I was there.
And it's a long story short, I couldn't film it. I had 3 cameras I was going to set up, and we were going to do a really cool deal. But I couldn't find the memory cards, and I had ripped through the bag looking for the memory cards over and over to the point where I was ready to murder myself. I don't know how that would be. That's just suicide. But
We could work it out. We could work
Self-homicide.
I weeks after was working on another project and found the memory cards in the same bag that I had been trying to look through before, which, needless to say, was infuriating. But
Someone replaced them just to fuck with you.
But the gracious sound engineer over at Photo City Improv in Rochester, New York, John gave me the stems for the audio that night, and they're being put back together and going to be used at the end of the show. So fun stuff there. We got to give a shout out to sugarfreebeats because he continues to make beats under the radar, and we're not sure what we're going to be bringing to you from him during this season anymore, but
We got to get him over the radar.
is there
What?
yeah I guess you could be over a radar.
You can be.
Yeah.
I guess. Is that what you want?
So
That's really high up.
but you can follow, I should say, you can follow Sugar Free Beats on Instagram at Sugar Free Beats and also on SoundCloud. He's making great stuff for us and has since the last season, but we got to get him back churning out those sick beats. So that covers most of the associates.
Well, they're not sick. They're healthy.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, don't say that. You can't say that. You can't say
You
they're
can't,
sick.
you can't say that.
You can't say that.
Hey, yes.
You don't say that. Okay, so we're really not even doing anything right now. We have, let's see, first song that would go into this playlist. You want to get right into it?
Let's do it.
All right, so I guess since we already prefaced this a little bit, and I already gave my story about how I didn't really quit jobs in a throwing my arms up and storming out kind of way. The first song kind of goes with my method, which was just, I'm going to get out of here. And the song's Jets Get Me Out of Here. And you guys know I love the garage rock sound.
Yeah, that definitely fits into that garage rock for sure.
It's the kind of thing that for me, when driving around after leaving a job, would just kind of put a smile on my face. A lot of people will put in things that'll just get them angry because they're angry about leaving the job. That wasn't really my feelings on that. It was usually like, screw you guys, I'm out of here. And
I'm going home.
And haha, I'm going to be happier, and not like you're stupid and mean and I'm overworked. It was never any of that. It was just, I don't want to work in a retail outlet anymore. So that was my first pick.
I mean,
what are
everyone's gotta
employee
work in
discounts like at Old Navy?
I want to say
Because their jeans are like $5. So like, do you just get them for free,
Right.
or how does that work?
I want to say it was like anything that was regular price, you could get like a flat, maybe like 20-25% off of. And then things that were on sale, you could get maybe a little more. I think clearance may have been like 50 off of the clearance price. Because I remember getting like T-shirts that were marked down to like $2 for less than $1.
Yeah, but it's
So
Old
it might have been
Navy.
$1.97. Yeah, but this is back when I was doing work where I was working in a residential facility, and I would often go through a shift there, and this was individuals with multiple disabilities that were also aggressive, and they were young adults, so they could pack a punch. And I used to often have shirts ripped like on a shift. I'd go in with a t-shirt on and the shirt would be ripped clean off my body. And so then I started feeling like I didn't want to ruin the shirts that I liked, and I didn't want to.
It was the equivalent of a shirt you'd be willing to get paint on, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much. I had like any time that there was stuff that was marked down to like I think it was $197, and then you could get 50% off of that, so it was under $1 for each t-shirt, and a lot of them would last me one shift. Some of them would last me a few months.
Jesus.
It was ridiculous. With that job, at one point, they were buying like the 3-pack of like Hanes pocket tees and keeping them in the workplace so that if someone was disrobed, they would at least have backup clothing. And it really was. It was like cage fighting all the time. So, yeah.
Just got to be ready for it.
Old Navy. But yeah, Get Me Out of Here by Jet. That's my first pick.
Excellent. Who's going second?
Well, you talked. You might as well.
All right, cool. I guess I'm going second. So in my narrative of how I think about, or like how I'm looking at these songs I picked. So the first part of it is like the moment you realize, hey, this fucking sucks. You know what I mean? Like, hey, this actually is terrible. Like maybe you like really wanted to go to the job in the first place. I know I've had that happen to me where it was like a job that I really thought it was going to be great. And then like a couple months in, I was like, you know what? This actually kind of sucks. And the song that came to mind for me was Dirty Work by Steely Dan.
So when this was being put into the list, Kevin,
Yeah.
I know this one, but I didn't know it was Steely Dan.
Oh, you did? This we were talking about this a little while ago. This happens to me all the time too. Yeah. I discovered this song probably as just going through like Steely Dan's greatest hits. It was probably how I discovered it. But like, man, that it's just like a smooth song that just you're like, yeah, wait a minute, this sucks. I don't want to do this anymore. This fucking blows.
Yeah, it doesn't even sound like it doesn't sound like an angry song. I never really listened to the lyrics.
It's because I'm still at the job and I still have to appear like everything's great. That's why I think it fits.
Yeah, it definitely does. It's one of those that like you hear it on the radio or something, and you hear it like, for me, Dad's cooking outside and he's playing it on the radio.
This is a dad song,
and
for
it
sure.
just sounds like Dad's relaxing.
Kyle, you pointed to yourself. Why?
Yeah, I'm not a dad, but I love that song, and I love Steely Dan.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm just used to him sounding funkier. That's all.
It's true.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm looking
fun.
at the. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. This one's not in that realm of funk. It's They said like this is one of their earlier songs. Came out in 1972, and it was like more of a commercial hit. They were trying to get more radio play, so I guess that's why they went for a smoother sound. At least that's my interpretation of it.
Hey, great song.
Yeah. So that's the headspace I want that to put you in. It's like the moment you realize this fucking sucks.
Yeah. Kyle?
All right. Well, I have had a lot of jobs, and
like at least 3. Right?
I don't know what
like
that
means.
Like you've
I'm
quit
a criminal,
lot, you've been
James,
fired a lot.
yes.
Yeah.
No, I've not been fired, but I've just bounced around a lot. I've had a lot of seasonal jobs and things like that. So for me, I just feel like every time I have to quit a job, it's like, it's like the grind of having to start somewhere new again. Just, I hate it. Because once you're in somewhere, even if you kind of hate the job, there's like some comfortability there. But anyways, my song, the man, he's not a myth, but he is a legend. Johnny Cash, I've Been Everywhere.
So, this is another one. When we prepped this show, and with Kevin's choice, and then this one the same, there's songs that, like, when I hear them myself, it's a common thing. You attach meaning to a song that you like based on what you've been through in your own life. And I listen to that Johnny Cash song, and I hear, like, he's just moved around a lot. So it's interesting to me to have it be a take for you of, like, you've had a bunch of jobs, which could also be why you move around. But for me, I moved around to get the jobs, I guess.
I moved, then got a job.
Just got to charge full ahead and get to it.
You got to start somewhere. Which it has been almost a year now since you've been out in California.
Almost.
You want to give the listeners any kind of update on what life is like now that you're fully acclimated?
It's a weird time right now, so it's tough to say like there's any acclamation for anyone. But what do you mean in terms of what exactly?
Well,
Can you be more specific?
you've been through all the seasons now.
Yeah. Yep.
So compare it to you've lived in what? You've lived in Georgia, you've lived in New York, you've lived in California.
Never lived in Georgia.
Not Georgia. Where did you go down south?
I worked in Alabama and in
There you
Arkansas
go.
for a short period of time.
Okay. Alabama.
I heard about the Arkansas. I remember that.
Yeah. Oof.
Wasn't it like hot as hell there?
Oh, it was so awful. Alabama was actually worse in terms of the heat and humidity.
Well, Alabama, you were there for months, weren't you?
Just a month.
Oh.
Arkansas for the same period of time.
Was Alabama where you went down to school?
Nope. Nope.
I
I just had a job down there a month ago.
I'm just
a month
watching
ago for a month.
Did you not go down south to go to school for a while?
I didn't. So if we're gonna get real specific here, then I was supposed to. I was supposed
Right.
to go to electrical lineman school in Georgia. But the lovely state of Georgia has this awful, awful rule that prohibits type 1 diabetics from getting behind the wheel of a commercial vehicle.
Wait. Oh, a commercial like for
That-
a business?
And
Yeah.
AKA you can't get a class B or A license.
Wow. Damn.
So, and I needed that in order. I had to get a CDL license in order to get my ticket, essentially,
That's some,
or my degree
Well, first of all, it's some grade A
from
bullshit.
an
But
electrical
also,
lineman school.
yeah, that's also actual discrimination.
Even if I had a federal waiver, I could not take that test in Georgia, which is where the school was.
So I'm still lost here because did you have a girlfriend down south at one point? I don't know what pieces I'm putting together, but there's something.
Are they from
in
your
here.
own? Are they from your own life, James?
No, because you started college.
No.
Did you not start college at like
In Syracuse, Lemoyne.
yeah, where Lemoyne?
Lemoyne, yeah, same place.
Yeah.
Elliot and
I could have sworn there was something that I thought you did about like transferring
Oops.
for a certain period or something. I don't know. I don't know where that
I
came
left,
from.
I did one semester at Lemoyne, and then I did one semester at the great Onondaga Community College.
Harvard on the Hill, baby.
And that was the extent of that. And then I went to an adult education program and got my electrical maintenance technician certification.
Right. I
So
don't know
you
what I
have
put together here. I
You
don't know
have
what
been
I did.
everywhere, man.
I have,
You have been
and
everywhere.
I
man.
haven't. And I've had a full-time job since I was 18.
Well, there you go. Hell yeah. Damn. I'm just watching James be pensive right now.
Well, because
What am I
I don't know-
doing?
I don't know.
No,
I thought we
no,
were,
no, no, no.
I don't understand.
No, that took me off to something else. I was thinking to myself, I feel like the time that I spent, I would say the most interesting exit from a job I probably would have just been. I started delivering the penny saver when I was 9, and I did it for like 8 years, and all the way till I was like 17. I don't remember quitting that job. I think I just stopped delivering the penny saver. I just stopped doing it.
You just stop doing it. Dude, like that's what happened to me. My first ever job I had, I was I think I was 13. I was a little league umpire. Worst fucking job
At the age
in
of
the world.
13?
Yeah.
I'm
I was a
confused
little
by
league
that.
umpire, dude. It sucked. Because guess what? At any level of being an umpire referee, Kyle, have you been an umpire referee before? You ever done it?
Not officially.
Not officially. James, you ever done it?
No, I called a few balls and strikes in my day, but I never
In your
been an
day,
umpire.
yeah. Let me tell you, when it's like fucking like 9 and 10-year-olds up there, doesn't matter if it's like little league, high school, college, whatever. You, as an umpire, you are never ever going to make anybody happy. If you're doing your job right, no one notices you're there, and if you're doing it bad, everyone's mad at you. And I found that out like firsthand. Like that was the first job I was like, this sucks. I hate this. And like
Why would they throw a 13-year-old up there? Were you calling balls and strikes?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was calling balls and strikes.
At
Absolutely.
13?
Yes. Yeah, dude, this is little league. It was like
Yeah, but grew up in a small populated area that what? There
Yeah,
was
man.
always dads that were always there to ump.
No, it was like so
believe
so
that.
when I was I had to go to a class to like get certified as an umpire, and then I worked for like the company in the Syracuse area that like basically hired out umpires, and yeah, we had to be official. It couldn't be just like whatever whoever's dad was there.
I can't believe that.
Yeah, man. And I got paid, I think it was I remember $15 a game. I think it was actually less than that. I think I got paid like $10 a game, something stupid like
Some
that.
child labor law or something there. I don't know.
Yeah, sketchy as hell. And also had to get berated by parents. So do not recommend it. Umpire, worst job ever. Ugh.
I mean, it doesn't seem like it would be good. Anything where you're trying to organize kids for any reason is difficult. All right, so we'll come back around for another round of these songs.
Yeah, man. What do you got, James?
Well, this goes back to dad rock, straight over to Steve Miller Band.
Oh, yeah.
It's an obvious one. Take the money and run.
Take the money and run. You feel like you're getting away with something.
Right, and that's kind of what I felt like not quitting a job. My first experience with unemployment, when I found out that seasonal employment, as long as you were doing it for long enough, could be considered that you didn't lose the job to any fault of your own, so then you could qualify for unemployment. So
Fun employment?
when I was in grad school, I was collecting unemployment, and then extra loophole was in a career change program. So it was being used to get me a job. So then I didn't even have to look for work while I was on unemployment. I was completely exempt and was collecting $311 every week for, I think it was 9 months. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a take the money and run situation.
Yeah, it was take the money and run.
That's it. You're like, oh, are
Yeah.
you going to let me do this? All right.
Capitalism, baby.
Yeah. Like, I knew I was going to lose that job when it was done because it was seasonal employment. But for some reason, I was allowed to just collect money. So,
Steve Miller Band.
Steve Miller.
Great band. But correct me if I'm wrong. Steve Miller is like a huge asshole, right?
I honestly don't know about him outside of just hearing his music. I couldn't even tell you what he looked like.
Can
think he looks
confirm on Wikipedia it says he is an asshole. That's on Wikipedia. That's official.
Ah.
Yep, that's there.
Yeah. Okay, good. Well, there we go. That's all I needed to know.
All you
I
needed
love
to
Steve
know.
Miller Band. There's a ton of good songs, but we should have known he was an asshole when he wrote a song about, just taking the money and run.
Yeah, like
Capitalist
I've
idea
actually,
there. Am I right?
yeah, I've
Am I right?
I've definitely never done like a close listen. But that's always been a good song that like I don't know pops up in like movies and TV all the time. I feel like on commercials, I feel like it comes up maybe. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it's got a good dad rock jam to it for sure.
Yeah, my first exposure to Steve Miller Band was, I believe, Fly Like an Eagle.
That's
That's
also
the-
Steve Miller Band. All right,
Right.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And
Yeah, that tracks.
that was, I think, being used by the United States Postal Service at one point.
It's also in
at
Space
either
Jam.
commercials.
Also
well-
in Space Jam.
Didn't Seal cover it too? Because I feel like that's the reason I ended up knowing
I
it.
hope not.
No, that's Fly Like a Seal.
Okay, no, this is definitely something that Seal covered. Oh, come on! It was on the Space Jam soundtrack.
Yeah, no,
I
Kyle
just
said
said
that. Yeah, Kyle said that. Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't hear you say that. I thought you were just saying that it was on like the song itself, not Seal. I thought never mind.
Wait,
Anyways.
the Seal cover was
The
on there?
Seal cover was the one that was on the Space Jam
Wow.
soundtrack. Yeah.
Explosion of mind.
Of course, I haven't seen that movie in probably 10 years minimum.
Spoilers, hot take. It's not good. It doesn't
Oh,
hold
you
up.
shut your mouth. I just
It doesn't
watched
hold
it a
up.
few months ago again. It's fucking
on Netflix.
masterpiece.
Yeah, man. All right, you ready for the next one?
Yes.
Let's do it. Okay. So in the evolution of the mode that I put my brain in about this. So you've realized the job sucks. So my most recent job that I quit, I was in for over a year. I had to be in it because of financial reasons. So I had to be stuck in this job that I had realized I hated for like, I think it was like 6 months, James. Is that about right?
Yeah, that's
Somewhere
about
around there.
right. Long
So I was
time.
in that job for 6 months. And so the song that made me think of the mood I had to be in that was I Think I'm Gonna Kill Myself by Elton John.
Which is really dark.
Yes.
And
So
keep going.
so this is a really jaunty little tune on a piano that if you listen to the lyrics, it's just here it is.
Like,
Yeah,
that's
like,
just
I just-
messed up.
It is 100% couldn't agree more. It's just like I'm sitting there at work like smiling like everything's fine with all my coworkers being all but like going to happy hour and everything, and in my head I'm like, I'm gonna fucking kill myself. Like, I hate this so much.
So it was during that time that I started to notice that when Kevin is really bothered by something, he starts playing. He's doing it right now, but not in the same way. He starts playing with his beard.
There's a specific place I play with the beard. It's under the chin. It's why there's like thinner hair under the chin. It's like, it's not the worst tick you could have because it's not that self-destructive, but like, I know I have it.
You were doing that all the time.
I pull on my mustache too all the time.
Yeah, and no, it was like you're right, James, and like it was always when we were out at the bars, when we were hanging out at the house, like whatever. I was always like, because in the back of my mind, I was like, I have to fucking go back to that goddamn job on Monday. God damn it, like, and it
time to
sucked.
trim the beard.
Yeah. But this song, like the way he wrote it as like, he wrote it from the point of view of a teenager who's like, ugh, God, Mom, you don't get me. I'm just gonna go kill myself. You wouldn't even know. Like that's what Elton John made in 1972, which I just think is very interesting.
You have a much greater knowledge of Elton John's catalog than I have. I had never heard of that song.
Neither did I, and I thought I knew Elton John's catalog pretty well.
This is off of Honky Chateau.
So I've definitely heard it then.
The reason I do is because his first like 5 or 6 albums are some of my favorite albums in the world. Like his early stuff is just incredible. Like the later stuff is good too. And also he did have the vocal surgery in the 90s, so his voice actually changed. But like his early stuff from like the early 70s is incredible. Like his self-titled album, it's just Elton John, is one of my favorite albums. So that's probably why I knew it is a deep cut. I'd agree, it's a deep cut for sure.
Well, Elton John wasn't being played in my household growing up, so that's why I don't really know his catalog. But
I heard just the hits. That's all I really
just
heard.
The hits,
but it wasn't being played necessarily. It was just on TK99, TK105.
Don't you quote the dark speech at me. 93Q.
Oh,
Number 1 hit music station.
Kyle, you got one?
I do. So Kevin's was Kevin's was about maybe killing himself. Well, this one's about killing somebody else.
A lot of dark things happening right now.
And I mean, and obviously I would never kill anyone else, but
right.
Everyone's had those feelings where you have that coworker you just can't fucking stand.
Mm-hmm.
And my song "Hit 'Em Up" by Tupac really embodies that.
Do you know what the sample is in this? Because the sample kills me every time. Like,
no.
It's because it's also unless this is what was being performed by Snoop Dogg on the stage in Old School, it was the same sample, or Snoop Dogg was doing that song for Vince Vaughn's character, the Speaker City celebration they were doing in the front of the house and everything. That was the song that was playing. The very short moment that you get a little bit of verbiage
when did that
out
come
of Snoop
out?
on
What
stage.
year was that?
Old School?
Yeah.
2001, I think.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That would make sense, right? Because, I mean, Snoop was part of, oh my God.
Death Row.
Death Row, thank you. I don't know how I was thinking that. Oh my God. Shit,
So-
2003.
But to me, in retrospect, I find it interesting that they had someone of Snoop's caliber and he was performing that. That's something we got to look up.
Yeah,
I got to look up because it's been bothering me.
We'll have to get back to that. But nonetheless, "Hit 'Em Up" is the best diss song ever. Don't anyone ever try to fight me on anything that was made after 97, we'll say, probably. Nothing hit. as hard
The
as
reason
this.
the reason you can securely know that Kyle is right, that it's one of the greatest diss songs, is I know that it's a diss song, and if I know it's a diss song, it's like an all-time classic.
It's just so out there. Like there's no, he doesn't mince any words. Like my fofo, make sure all y'all kids don't grow. Like
I've heard you say that many times.
He just comes at everyone that Biggie knows, and
you just
Biggie's
put yourself in that
girl,
headspace while you're at work, or just like having a smile, but like that's what you really want to say to that coworker.
yeah, 100%. A lot of the shit he says, hits deep. It hits deep. Like I said, I would never do it. I don't think Tupac would either, and he was the master of it. So,
do these become shower thoughts, like shower conversations in your head, like what you're?
Well, I'm
gonna
listening
say?
to this song when I'm in the shower. So,
yes, of course.
Still not a Tupac guy. Wasn't then. Tried to. Bought the Machiavelli album. That was the end of it for me. I just wasn't into it.
I got a book for
Tried.
you. I'll send it out to you. Poetic.
A book?
Yes, it's a poetry.
Interesting.
It's a book of poetry.
I
The
think
Rose
you
That
may
Grew
have
from
told me.
Concrete. Look it up.
Okay. All right.
I think I've heard of that one actually. Yeah, cool.
All right. Well, now we are kind of on a hip hop thing because if we go back to mine, and if I do let out at least a little bit of anger, anytime I do, it's usually this song that makes me feel like that anger is real. Kid Cudi's Mr. Rager. And our production assistant used to refer to me being angry about whatever I was angry about in the moment as one of my Mr. Rager episodes. So song holds a dear place in my heart. It was also from one of my favorite hip-hop albums of all time. But Kid Cudi, even still one of my favorites. I don't know where he goes. He's really experimented with a lot of garbage music that he's made.
Wait. What the fuck is garbage music?
Oh,
Like,
you want to look up some
Modern
Kid Cudi
Kanye?
garbage? Oh,
Are you saying like it's just bad music, or is there
Yes.
a specific subgenre of hip hop called garbage music?
well,
Modern
it would be
Kanye
that
in
he
his-
created it.
in his tree of
Well,
garbage.
before that,
subpar
I'm
performers.
talking the Wizard album, WZRD.
Mm-hmm.
That was when he was
Yeah, it's all bad when they stop using vowels.
well, because he did that album with one of his producers.
Couldn't afford a vowel anymore there.
So that was Dr. Genius and Cudi, and Dr. Genius had been working with Cudi for a long time before that. But what they did was they made a rock album, and traditionally, when a hip hop artist just makes a rock album, it ends up being garbage.
Yeah, I've never heard of that going well. I feel like I've heard of that happening before, and
Well,
it just is bad.
Yeah, it's just because you are an artist doesn't mean that you can successfully create through any medium. And to me, if you're a musician, then the medium that you're using is dependent on the genre. It like if you were a painter, you couldn't just say, "Oh, I'm going to be a good drawer too," or vice versa. And if you're a musician, you can't be like, "I can sing, so I guess I can play the glockenspiel." And I don't think you can do, "I can rap, so I guess I can make a rock album." It just doesn't work. Lil Wayne, come on.
Yeah, that's the one I know about, is that he made like a hard rock album.
Yeah.
It was like a metal album, wasn't it?
Did anybody ever really expect anything out of that? Like,
Prom queen. that was, I think people had high hopes even though they knew to like temper expectations. But Cudi, that was a big old swing and a miss. And then he did it again by himself with the album Speed and Bullet to Heaven. That was also garbage. But most recently, and there's some good songs on his most recent album, and supposedly he had something coming out soon. But as we make this podcast in these weird times, I feel like one of the things we're not really noticing is that music is not being made right now. And so when we get to the summer months and you talk about, oh, what's the hit of the summer going to be? That's a big thing every year in pop music.
If it's Bad Guy again, I'm going to lose my mind.
But it could
If it's just
be.
2 years running, just keep it going.
It could be, though, because you're going to have some artists that have the ability to make their music at home,
Right.
but there's going to be others that just can't because they have to get together with the producers and the musicians and all that stuff and then get it mixed and mastered and all that. It's just something that I think that is going to be difficult to do. I think that we're going to get a ton of big name music either smack dead in the middle of the summer or in the fall. And it's going to be a lot of stuff that had been just pushed off, delayed. And what I'm interested to see is, like everything else right now, when life goes back to what we hope will be normal, everything will be slightly different. And so I'm curious, does this lead to a new genre of music? Because I've been waiting for one for years. And
new genre.
I need a new genre of music. You can't just keep recycling rock, hip hop, pop music, country, and EDM. They've all existed for like 30 years now, at least, all of them. So we need something new. I want like a offshoot, not grunge revival. I want like grunge to turn into something else now. And I
That
don't know what it
whiny
would be.
rock, that whiny modern rock that's just bitchy.
Very tactful.
What you got to be
I
more
agree.
specific.
I want to wear a flannel. I don't want to wear a tight shirt that doesn't fit in the shoulders.
Yes.
You feel me?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Glad we agree.
We're going to be doing an episode on that coming up soon too.
Yep.
But yeah, okay, so that's my Kid Cudi pick. Next.
All right. This one is actually the song that came to mind first when this topic was proposed. I think we're kind of taking it back towards dad rock a little bit. We're not going to take it, Twisted Sister.
Now, this is something that I think it definitely already appeared on the show this season.
You think so?
It did.
Or
It definitely
was
already appeared on the show this season.
Was that the fight episode? Or was
Yeah.
That,
Yeah, and I think that you can expect to get this song on a list from us almost, I would guess, probably every 3 or 4 episodes.
It fits a lot of things, right?
Yeah,
Like,
well, yeah, it's so over the top.
it is over the top. I think I've never thought of it that way, but that is a good way to describe it.
Yeah,
sure.
it's an iconic song. It's over the top. The video is over the top. The band was obviously over the top. They're called Twisted Sister. I love it. I'm glad you picked it.
It's definitely the in my head. Now, this has never happened to me, and I don't think it ever will. But in my head, it's the moment of you marching towards your boss's office, about to tell him to fuck off, right? Like that's what it's like. That's what it's supposed to evoke, right?
And standing on his desk and thrusting your hips in his direction.
I mean, that's implied. You don't have to say that. Jesus.
With curly hair extensions that replicate Dee Snider's hair.
Damn straight. Yeah, and like you're walking along, all your coworkers are singing along. You know, they're like, "Yeah, fuck them, yeah." You know, like that's what is in my head.
That's what
Obviously,
they're saying? Yeah, fuck them, yeah.
Look it up. Those are the lyrics.
Look it up.
Look it up. Look it up.
Look it up.
All right, Kyle.
Well, so mine's like, you ever been a part of a system, like a large corporation that you feel like you're just
HSBC Bank.
like, fuck the man, you know what I mean? So Rage Against the Machine, this is kind of their thing, right?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah.
let's rage against the machine.
Yep.
So the song
Like, on the-
Testify, yeah, right. So the song
the nose.
Testify, I think does just that for you.
Yeah.
It gets that message out, like, I'm sick of being a part of your system. I'm a cog in your machine. I don't want to do it anymore. Get me out of here.
I'm glad I'm glad you and I were on like the same kind of wavelength on that part. Absolutely. Like that's that part of the job quitting process of like, fuck this shit, man.
Well,
it
that
becomes
whole
less
round
about your
was
personal
angry.
experience there, and it becomes almost more about the things that you're perpetuating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And your existence in it makes you almost guilty. And like, I've just been a part of jobs like that I just,
Yeah. Same.
it
Absolutely.
makes
same.
it, I don't
Yeah.
go home feeling good about the job I'm doing.
Yeah.
So on the Rage Against the Machine thing, though, you guys given any thought to the fact that it has taken forever for them to get back together and tour, and then poof, they can't.
Yeah, pretty sad.
I think
My roommate was going to be, or my ex-roommate was going to be flying
In the
all the way
pit.
from San Diego to Buffalo.
Yeah,
And
he was going to be in the pit.
And
Yeah.
he spent a lot of money on plane tickets and concert tickets. And even though they're actually, they have 2 dates that are like an hour and a half north, but
Yeah,
damn.
I to me the Zach De La Rocha being missing from the band, like if you don't know the history of Rage, when the band broke up, what happened was De La Rocha was the one that split off, but the rest of them ended up with Chris Cornell to make Audioslave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if you listen to Audioslave's music, Audioslave sounds almost exactly like Rage Against the Machine, except obviously Chris Cornell's voice is different, but the content.
the voice of God.
Yes. De La Rocha's political views and his commentary on things were really what made Rage legendary, because you didn't have the same carryover from Audioslave. I loved Audioslave, but it was that one element that was missing. So then you had with Tom Morello, I believe, joined up with Chuck D and To Be Real from Cypress Hill, that Prophets of Rage thing that they were doing a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That was exciting to me because they like, oh, cool, like they're going to do that kind of thing, but it still wasn't De La Rocha. So then when the news came out that they were going to be touring again, it was like, hell yeah, they're doing it. They got all the pieces together. It's going to sound like it's supposed to sound again. And then, hey, you want to spend a ton of money to come and see one of those shows? Well, you're gonna get your money back. It's a shame. It's a shame. That's one of those things that music fans have wanted for decades now, and then boom, gone, just like that. Just a shame.
It is sad.
Ugh.
When they announced it, I was pretty excited. They're going to Run the Jewels too.
Yeah.
It was part of the tour. That would have been.
Yeah, John and I
sad.
were talking about going to Pittsburgh, but he got caught up doing something when the tickets went on sale. He wasn't able to get them. But I also I'm curious about what happens. We won't know now. Hopefully, they don't have issues with each other and then blow the chance to do this when everything is possible again. But I personally would have loved to find out. You've got this tour that was going to be fairly expensive. So the people that are going to be going to it are the ones that are now, mostly my age. And so we are the ones that have entered, financial independence and the ability to afford a extravagant concert, which is being put on by the band that is against all of the reasons for why we now have the money to go see them.
Yeah, it's you gotta be
It's like-
part of.
They raged against the machine, and then the machine provided us the chance to go see them again now after all this time. It was just a weird dynamic is all.
Thanks, machine.
Yeah, right.
Like, I'm not gonna start doing that. I mean, I'll be the first to say I've never really listened to Rage much, except they had one of their songs was on embarrassingly enough was on Guitar Hero 2, and I remember playing, I think it was oh god, what name some of their famous songs. Is it like
Well, I mean, Kevin, what I could do is I could just go right into the next round of our playlist here.
why, because is there another one?
So we've had conversations about how I was very upset that Killing in the Name of wasn't used at the end of the third Matrix.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And so Wake Up, this is Wake Up by Rage Against the Machine, was used in the end of the first Matrix. And those songs to me were just so perfect for those movies. Yeah. I wasn't the biggest Rage fan back then, but Wake Up was something that I started listening to as I got older. Not just about being angry about work, but pretty much anytime I was angry about anything.
Yeah,
And
for sure. Like they
still
definitely fit that
now.
mold.
Yeah, you get to the end of the song, he's yelling, "Wake up!" All that stuff just fits into. Oh, I want to be angry right now, so I guess I'm going to be angry. So
By the way,
yeah.
the song I was thinking of is in fact Killing in the Name.
Okay, so
That was the one that was in Guitar Hero too. That's
Which-
the one I played.
We did that with last episode.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
saying. So, with my pick for this round being "Wake Up" by Rage Against the Machine, we were just saying like it. Kevin wasn't really into Rage, doesn't know a lot of their songs. I
do
only
not.
know like a handful. But the ones that I really like. Testify, the one you brought up a few minutes ago, that was actually my favorite one. Way back when, and I think "Killing in the Name" is my favorite now. And if they don't use it in the new Matrix movie, then they shouldn't have made the movie.
That's right. They're doing a fourth. What the?
If they don't use it, they shouldn't have made the movie.
That's it. That's the
That's
qualifier.
it. That's it. You're not going to use it. Don't make the movie. I've had it. You screwed it up the first time. You put on a freaking orchestra. You got another chance. If you don't use it, should have stayed home.
Or maybe just I don't know. Don't make the movie in general. Cause
No, I want to see the movie.
Everyone should be staying home right now, James.
Thank you, Kyle. That is true.
I'm glad. I'm glad you
PSA.
spoke up for that. So, Kyle, you want to give us your next pick?
I think it was actually mine. Right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Not that it matters. My last one is again for a fantasy scenario that would not really happen, but like after you've gone in to the boss's office and been like, I'm done here, I'm out. As you're walking out, you're walking in slow motion. You put on the sunglasses, and this song plays. It's a newer one. It's called "The Man" by The Killers.
And this one, Kevin, is this like 2 or 3 years old? How old is this one now?
It's relatively recent. I want to say 2 years. Let's look here. Yes, it was released on June 14th, 2017.
okay.
Or no,
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. That's
that
it.
makes
Yep.
sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
The first time I saw this song, like I heard it, was actually in the trailer for Vice, that movie about Dick Cheney. Right.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
That first trailer, that's where I heard it for the first time. But I like this song a lot. I mean, the Killers are a really good band in general. But this song is a little bit different for them. It's got I think they classify as a little bit of disco in there going on.
It's kind of got that neo disco high pitch.
Before I
Yeah.
forget, was Steve Carell in that movie?
Yes, he was Donald Rumsfeld.
Are you guys aware of the Space Force series that's coming to Netflix?
I'm aware of it. I don't know if I'll watch it, but
Are you kidding me? It's Steve Carell and Greg Daniels who was an executive producer on The Office.
I know, but the thing is, I'm biased against The Office because I find it so annoying. Like, The Office is a great show. I will never bash The Office. It's the people who like love The Office, and
It's
that's
the
their personality
latecomers.
trait.
I know.
Yeah. Like that's the people. It's like Duke basketball. I respect Duke basketball, but I fucking hate Duke fans. Right?
Oh, I
like,
don't respect Duke basketball.
I
hate
respect.
Duke
How can you not
fans.
respect Duke basketball?
Fuck 'em.
Because Mike Krzyzewski is no way that dude is less guilty than anything Jim Boeheim's ever done.
Oh, sure, but like we're not talking
Jim
about
Boeheim
Jim
should
right
have.
now.
Well, I am, and Jim Boeheim should have the fucking record for most wins in Division I history.
Well,
Fair enough.
so the latecomers screwing up your view of The Office aside, this is supposed to be like a parody of what the Space Force would look like.
Right. No, I've seen like the concept, and it sounds very good. Like I'm
Yeah.
sure I will watch it.
It can't miss. I honestly
yeah.
feel like it can't miss. You have two people that are hired guns taking on a subject that was already kind of comical just from the fact that our brilliant president thinks that we should be focusing on the Space Force.
Space Force.
Focusing on the Space Force.
Space.
Okay, so what was that? The man, and one more pick, Kyle. It's your last one.
Yeah, so this one's more for like kind of like what Kevin was saying on your way out. This is me getting in the car on my way out,
Hell
leaving
yeah.
the parking lot. This is like the last. This is the last you'll hear of me. I am cranking this shit up. Tookie knows part 2. There is no part 1. Schoolboy Q.
Okay,
Why is there no part 1?
I don't know. I wish there was because this is a hot.
you
beat.
know
Yeah, man, for sure.
And
that happens.
Two of
though.
these rappers got their introduction to mainstream rap through this song, which is crazy to me. Traffic and TF. It's nuts.
Man.
It is a more common thing than you would think.
What, like a part 2 appearing, but no part 1.
Yeah, because for example, Legendary Mobb Deep song, Shook Ones Part 2.
Yep. Part
Okay,
2. Yeah.
that preceded Shook Ones Part 1, which was a part of the album Hell on Earth, which definitely came after the Infamous. And then something like another example, not a Part 1, Part 2 situation, but how about the remix to Ignition?
There was no Ignition.
R. Kelly did not make a song called Ignition other than the Ignition remix.
I honestly think it's just to sound more artsy. Like it just sounds cooler to like.
Well, the
have
freaking
part
No, I'm
two.
sure there was an Ignition. It just never got ignited.
Yes, no, it was dead on arrival.
well, then it
It
wouldn't
was
be
probably just
Ignition.
such a trash song that
It was
and
probably
then somebody
terrible, yeah.
some other producer came in, said we can't call it Ignition. We called the Ignition remix because I'm a different producer. Made it a good song, and then threw it out there.
Alternator? I don't know what to call. You can't call it Ignition if it doesn't ignite, right?
Solenoid.
Dead battery.
Dead
So-
battery.
All right. Well,
Hey, fuck you. I've had dead battery issues all week. God damn it.
so
Did R. Kelly get accused of battery too?
I imagine it had to happen somewhere in there, in that closet.
I would imagine.
That closet. So
that's a weird energy to end on.
yeah, well, we're not ending the show. We're not ending the show. We got to take a little break. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about each of us has a pick of the week for you, things that we've been listening to. It may be something that you're interested in and it may be not, but we definitely have some picks that at least might get you talking a little bit. I've got one that I know you guys haven't heard. So we will take a little break and we will be right back after this. I need an update on the launch.
What launch? Oh, the launch. Oh, crap.
Let me check the computers.
Beep, boop, 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 beep, boop, boop.
All right. I have a
Gentlemen.
bearing. I have a heading.
Gentlemen, I need the space coordinates of that stove.
There's at least a 1 in there somewhere.
I got a 2. I got a 37.
I'm sorry. We were just
and it's
reading.
heading that way.
We were reading the numbers off our fortune cookies. I'm sorry.
We didn't listen. We messed up.
Yeah, we messed up.
Yeah.
Sorry, sir. You want to have a barbecue? It's the only way we're gonna make this right.
It'll bring us all together
And how are we going to cook all this stuff in this amount of time?
with Paul's rocket stoves.
They're really fast.
How fast?
What would you say, Brendan? How could you say it?
I think the phrase we're looking for is "Go fast, eat fast." Paul's rocket stoves.
.com.
Paul's Rocket Stoves are handmade outdoor cooking appliances that run on renewable biofuel. For more details and ordering information, visit paulsrocketstoves.com.
And we're back, and we are only here to give you our opinions on things that you should listen to while you're bored. And I mean, really, this is our own flavor. So you may not be into something that I'm into, and you may not be something that Kevin or Kyle are into. But we hope that you get something out of this, even if it's just being reminded of a song that you know and you've liked and you just haven't listened to in a while. I noticed as soon as we were stuck at home, not able to go to work, the first thing that changed for me that was, minuscule, not the major stuff. But one of the small changes that I noticed right away was my listening habits, because I don't have the commute. So I organize my music so that there's a playlist for me that contains what I would listen to on the way to work early in the morning, because I don't want it to be super high intensity. I don't really do hip hop in the morning.
One could say songs to commute to.
Yes.
For a future episode.
We'll be doing that too.
Yep.
And so I don't do hip hop in the morning. Usually it's indie rock. But there's been other things that were kind of filtering in. But now that I don't have the commute, when was I gonna listen to music? What was I gonna listen to? Well, it came down to I'm gonna listen to things that are on my mind while playing video games. And so I'd fire up the Xbox and throw in Spotify. And there was an artist that I came across before all of this who is a hip-hop producer who does YouTube tutorials, really informative and helpful ones, on how you can produce music at home. She's extremely talented. She goes by the name of Bad Snacks. And Yeah, I'm saying, I know you guys haven't heard of it because she's not somebody that's making a ton off of music. It seems like what she does mostly is do tutorials with YouTube to encourage people to sign up for her online lessons that she will tutor people, I assume by Skype or Zoom or Google Hangouts or something. And that's how she makes her money. Well,
We got to link her up with Gus, Sugar-Free Beats, Bad Snacks, and then they could like come together and make like a nutrition.
Sugar-free snacks, bro.
well,
They could call it Healthy Beating.
you know,
I like mine
Kyle,
better.
sometimes you're right. Sometimes you're right. And when you're right, you say Bringo. And the name of the song
It's Bringo.
is Bringo. And so it's just instrumental tracks. There's no words to it or anything.
Dude,
but
I'm all about it. I'm all about it.
There's I didn't let it go for very long there. But I know that if you want to check out something that is different from what you've been listening to and you just want to vibe to something for a little bit, that's the kind of thing that I would recommend.
Hell
and
yeah.
then just seriously, like you go back and you check out her videos. Like I learned a ton. She doesn't have a lot of videos, but the ones that she does have up are extremely informative and extremely helpful for somebody like me. But so, yeah, just fading it in so you can get a little more feel for what's going on there. But super talented, interesting artist,
Dude,
doing
I
lots of cool
love
things.
that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff is so good.
It's kind of got like
Yeah.
a Kate Tronada feel.
And just for the fact that, you know, somebody like me or like Kevin or people that are just sitting at home and playing with new hobbies and stuff, making music, even though I don't know what I'm doing making music, but I'm learning through YouTube videos like what Bad Snacks is putting out. So I just wanted to throw that into that list for this episode. So
Hell yeah.
that's my pick. Bringo is the name of the song.
Bringo.
And I am sure it has to be a reference to Check It Out with Dr. Steve Brule, the classic Adult Swim John C. Reilly program. That is another thing that you should check out while you're stuck at home. Check It Out is the name of it. Adult
should
Swim
check it out.
Cartoon Network.
Wait,
Check it out.
Check it out. Yeah, you should check it out. Let's check it out.
So that's my pick, boys.
Hell yeah, it's a good one, man. All right, mine is it's a classic song, but it's one that I've definitely been jamming on the last week or so. Heart of Glass by Blondie.
You know, Blondie was one of the people that didn't get enough credit for her contributions to hip hop because she was rapping. That's what
Oh,
she
yeah.
was doing. Like in here, she's singing. You can hear her singing in Heart of Glass,
Right.
but she was rapping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Blondie as a band, like they were the history of them is interesting because they came in with that kind of like the sound of that Heart of Glass has right there that you heard. And then they slowly kind of started integrating other genres of music. Like they started integrating a lot of I was going to say ska. It's not ska. It's reggae. A lot of reggae, which that's kind of when
Similar.
I'm out on their stuff. But yeah, no, definitely the same exact genre. Like that, a lot of people have heard "The Tide Is High." I don't care for that song personally, but you know, that's one of their more famous ones. But this song, so James, I told you when I picked this one earlier. The reason like this came up on like a Discover playlist and like obviously I've heard the song before but it came up on Spotify and I was like wait a minute, first of all that's a Blondie song, like I learned that was a Blondie song and then I
Right.
was like wait a minute, where have I heard this recently and why did I really like it when I heard it recently? And after like 2 days of thinking about it I remembered this was here in Rochester one of our favorite bars to go to when it is open, and unlike now, is Lux here in Rochester. And
Good old rock bar.
They have one of my favorite dance floors I've ever been on. Always a good time. And I remember that Saturday night DJ that's always playing like the best stuff played this song at like 1:30 in the morning, like getting close to last call. One time when you, me, and a bunch of other people were there, and it was just so much fun. Like
Yeah.
that was the perfect dance song. It was so good. Great
Kyle-
beat, great funk, everything.
Kyle's shaking his head, and I want to be like, "Shut up!" Just because Megan doesn't like going there doesn't mean it's not good there.
I didn't like it
can't-
there before Megan.
I can't explain.
It's a fucking great bar, man.
Yeah, like every time we go there, they're playing 90s R&B and hip hop, and yes, there's a small dance floor, but it's also like it's not a club, like and there's not there's not a bunch of douchebags and idiots that like are gonna ruin your fun there. Unless that's who we are, which it might be.
Oh no. Is this like one of those situations where you're like, if you can't identify the douchebag in the bar, you are the douchebag in the bar?
Well, I mean, though certain people will remain nameless, but the last time we were there was someone who puked on the floor, and it's not anybody that's been on the show.
Oh yeah. Shout out to that person.
Great guy. I'm not taking anything away from him personally.
No, I saw that happen. No. Bigger shout out to the bouncer who came over and cleaned it up like it was no big deal. He was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Like that dude just was like, all right, whatever. And like, shout out to that guy because you can tell he's seen some shit.
Yeah, well, that place is a weird
That
place.
place.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, going back to the rapping by Blondie, I'm calling you back to Rapture here. This I had put into the fight episode. I caught a lot of flack. I was saying this to Kevin earlier before we started doing the show today.
Very defensive about his pick.
She goes into like full-on rap verses in this song and doesn't really get a lot of credit for the fact that this is the 1980s. Like hip-hop wasn't really mainstream. She was a pop artist, pop group. You call Blondie a group, whatever.
Right.
But she was just the blonde white girl that was rapping in the 80s, and no one really was even acknowledging that that's what she was doing. But that's what she was doing.
I'd go as far as say innovative. It's an innovative band,
Yeah.
certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So just thoughts on that. That's all. Kyle, you got to pick for us.
I do. And this is an in memoriam pick. R.I.P. to Kenny Rogers. And one of my favorite bands, Slightly Stupid, reggae rock band from California, decided to release a cover that they had made a few months prior of The Gambler. Which
is an interesting take on the song.
It is.
I feel like a hard song to cover, no matter what you do.
Especially reggae as your main. Because they do a lot of rock too, but it's mainly reggae from them. So
yeah, I don't really know Slightly Stupid. I know you're big into them, but it really feels out of place, kind of.
In what way?
I'm not saying it's a bad song. I feel like it like when you hear their music, it doesn't sound like you would expect them to cover that song. That's what I'm trying to say.
I mean, I guess for me it didn't seem that out of place because like Stick Figure, another one of my favorite reggae rock bands, they've done Johnny Cash covers and things like that before. So I guess I've heard Willie Nelson covers, so I guess it's not that far of a reach for me, but I get if you're not really listening to that type of music, how old country classic meets reggae could be a little bit
it seems very up your alley, man, for sure.
Yeah, it's these things happen. I'm not. Some of my favorite songs are covers of things that never should have been covered by the people that covered them. I will specifically cite Rhyme Fest and Old Dirty Bastard and Build Me Up Buttercup.
Yeah, but that shit's hilarious.
I love that song. It's freaking insane. But yeah, these things happen. I just when you sent this one to me and I was getting the sample ready for the show, I was like, I haven't listened to Slightly Stupid. I don't know what they normally sound like, but I hear them playing this song and I can kind of tell they're not country. So it was weird for them. It's weird to hear them trying to do that. So interesting. That's all.
Yeah, man. It's a really, really cool song. I really dig on it, for sure.
Yeah. I can see why you could jam on that. All right, so that covers songs for quitting a job. That's not how you do grammar. Songs for quitting a job. We are gonna cut out of here. There's gonna be more episodes very soon because we're gonna be releasing regularly every week.
Hell yeah.
So you can do the social media, Kyle.
Twitter. Let's see. Our Instagram first off is going to be at We Are 3 Deep. correct, James?
Yes, we are. It is
Yep.
still We Are
Yep.
3 Deep.
Yeah, yeah. And then no, it's not. It's 3 Deep Podcast.
Is it?
Yeah, it's 3 Deep Podcast, all one word.
Maybe Twitter's We Are 3 Deep?
That's what it is. Yep. Twitter is we.
I don't know.
3 Deep.
We've
Why are
been
we
out of
even
the game
using
for a
Twitter?
bit.
Why are we
I don't know
on
much
Twitter?
about no Twitter.
I think
No,
that's why
I-
I'm getting confused.
I'm not using the Twitter. Don't follow us on Twitter.
Don't even bother. Let's stop
Don't follow us
talking
on
about it.
Facebook either.
Yeah, what's Facebook?
Facebook.
I deleted that
Facebook.
shit.
We need that
a
Instadang.
long time ago. Yeah, so
Facebook's a
just
wasteland.
just get at us on Instagram at 3D Podcast, all one word.
Yeah,
Where
and,
I promise we'll be a little bit more professional on there than we are in the actual podcast.
So you can hit us up on Instagram, or you could actually send us an email at weare3deep@gmail.com if you have thoughts on the show. If you are someone who would like to sponsor the show, that's also a great way to get in touch with us. We're all about creating commercials for sponsors. If you're interested, send us an email or hit us up on social media. Follow Root Shock on social media as well. They're not touring, but they are performing a little bit at home and posting those to Instagram, so you can check those out. Also check out their music. And then Jessica Brown from the band has some solo singles out currently as well. Check those out. And then sugarfreebeats at sugarfreebeats on SoundCloud and Instagram. Don't forget him. So, you guys got anything to add to this episode before we get out of here?
I got nothing for you.
Wash your dang hands.
Yeah, wash your dang hands. Honestly, on a very serious note, don't forget how many people there are out there that care about you. Don't forget that there are many people that want to know how you're doing. Many of us are struggling with the fact that we can't go out and see people and spend time with them in person. You gotta find ways to connect, because we
Call your
are.
mom.
Yeah, call your mom, call your sister, call your brother, call your uncle, call your dad, call your friend, call your doctor,
G-ma.
call whoever. Call your Mima.
Nana.
What about babushka? Can I
we-
call babushka?
Call your Jaji.
We're not together, but we are all in this together. And the only way for things to get back to normal is for us to try and be able to connect with each other, to let us know that we are all looking out for each other. So don't isolate yourself, but stay inside, stay safe, stay strong. We'll talk to you soon.
Good night, John Boy.